I hate that. When you get that spittle stuff. It's so gross. I especially hate it when I get back in the car, like after I've been at a meeting or something, right? And then you look at your lips and you're like, ugh, like, did I have that on the whole time I was speaking? Like, why did nobody tell me? Potential spam. Okay. Yeah. If nobody else is calling you, the spammers and the scammers will, right? So don't feel lonely. Well, in today's Farmer's Almanac Daily, it says make bundles of fragrant herbs such as lavender, lemon balm, mint, or rosemary, and place them near your shower. The heat and steam from the shower water will release their scents. You know, what makes good sense is probably buying some of this locally or growing it your own and drying. Okay. Because, truth be told, I ordered some eucalyptus bundles off of Amazon, and the scenting off of them was not agreeing with my body. So I had to toss them out. So that was a waste of money. So, I don't know where that stuff's coming from, I guess. And I looked at the package and it said made in China. It's like, okay, great. It's probably some horrible hazardous chemicals that were put on there to preserve it that I was like, and it's like, and that is what I want to steam in my bathroom. No, no, it's not. So, you know, sorry guys, my hair, it's like negative. So, we don't really, we don't always be washing our hair like that. You know what I mean? Anywho, but no, I did not do a special do to get on camera today. So, yeah. Hello there in the chat. I am going to use the meditation deck today, start us off on a positive note. So as you go through the week, if you notice yourself requiring a little, I don't know, meditation for any particular reason, doesn't have to be a specific reason. It could be any reason. Yes, are you okay? I mean, it doesn't look like you're spelling your name correctly, so I'm asking you. Mm-hmm. We had one of those campaigns at work, and it was like the text message, like, are you? And then, okay. And they said it was, yeah, it was an interesting campaign. I think they had good intentions behind it, but one of my coworkers greatly, and I mean greatly questioned the value. And I think it's because the way he saw it is that the corporation as a whole doesn't really care. So are they like, because if they did care, they wouldn't do a whole lot of the other things, right? But sometimes we know that's just the reality of things. Just as some folks in certain regions of the country have been experiencing some not great realities that other people have already been exposed to, unfortunately, right? So that being said, meditation deck. All right, let's get started. Aspiration. What do you aspire to be? Okay. When they say shoot for the stars, what pops in your mind? Hopefully not literally shooting at a star, right? Okay. Although, I mean, you point the rocket ship that way. Is Connor asking in the chat if anyone else wants to meditate with you? Is that what you're asking, Connor? And it's really interesting when that was one thing in one of the locations I worked at when I had my corporate gig. they were starting to have some wellness activities planned for their employees, and one of them did include a meditation exercise that they held. Say it was like once a month for a while, and it wasn't bad. I went to a couple of the sessions; they were okay. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily how I want to spend my entire lunch break, right? But for a lot of people, it's very useful. So if you're tuned into this channel for other things, you might not like this channel because I do talk about that sort of thing. So if you're in the, yeah, Connor, if you're reiterating the hell no there, then yeah, you might need to hightail it somewhere else because this might not be a channel for you. All right, and if it's not your message today, don't sweat it, right? Ooh, transformation. Butterfly time. Butterfly time, right? So what plans are you hatching? What's in your chrysalis? What's in your cocoon right now? What is in there that's like, it's okay, but it's not like as polished as I want it to be. It's not this, it's not that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Connor's gonna get to go away from the channel, so he's being disruptive. And that's how we do it over here. Bye-bye. Are y'all all old enough to have ever seen the McLaughlin Group? I am. Bye-bye. That's what they used to say at the end. And then there's the very famous skit on SNL that involved, I believe it was David Spade. Bye-bye. Right? The exiting the airplane skit. Bye-bye. I don't know if you've traveled recently, but they don't really do that. They're just like hoping you get off the plane, right? And after, the age of the internet, and we've seen all the shenanigans that some people do pull in the air, right? And, the people that refuse to like put their suitcase underneath or, whatever it is, right? It's like, yeah, no wonder they don't want to talk to they don't even want to say bye on the way out. They're just like, yep, trying to remain incident free, right? Think about that. Safety, number one priority. To remain incident free. Okay, group work. So, collective, you may be in the middle of something where it requires you to work with others, like a group project, say if it's in school, at work. Maybe it's for your kids' school where you have to team up with some of the other parents or coordinate schedules, things of that nature. But kind of what I'm getting is, it might not look right. Sometimes it doesn't always look how we want, but are you making progress? Okay. You have to start asking yourself those questions because progress is better than perfection because nobody achieves perfection, right? Maybe when we transform into the afterlife, we'll witness it somehow, right? Until that time occurs, we're all sitting here trying to sip our morning tea and get through, right? Okay. So I'm not going to withhold your morning coffee, right? You know what I'm saying? There's certain standards of living, right, where you just kind of have to start at that base level, okay? And, some people don't want to participate in that, but it's okay for you to do so, okay? So, again, that's the great thing about meditation is it provides you a space, okay? It provides you a space where okay, somebody it provides you a space where you can get those ideas out where it's like, okay, this sounds half baked, but once you said it, then, oh yeah, somebody else can piggyback off of, and then it becomes this thing that's like unstoppable in its own force, right? And then you feel confident about it. Okay, that's Stormin, Foreman, what is it? Foreman, Stormin, Norman, right? Those are the, in that order. Form the group, and then you're looking around and you're like, oh, God, I gotta work with this person. Oh. So yeah, then it comes the storming, right? Because then you gotta throw out all the idea. You do the brainstorming sessions. Some people are like, some people are like, some people are like, right? Some people are like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes it happens that other people are not gonna be jazzed. I was just thinking about this the other day. It was literally a group project in college. And I was so excited because I was in this creative group with three other people that were, so I was the fourth one. I was more of a business major, and they were in like advertising. And I thought, oh, this is going to be so fun to work with them. We're going to be able to do all this fun things in this presentation. No. To say that expectation was a disappointment was like the understatement of the year that semester for me. I couldn't believe how dry and boring these people were and how they didn't want to do anything fun in the presentation, even though our professor was one of those kind of kooky types where he'd like, right, like, I get, yeah, you guys get me. No. No, it was this was worse than like a corporate fucking presentation where people are like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, yeah. And it's like these people were in advertising and television production, and I'm like, fail. I mean, I think we were lucky to get a B on it. You know what I mean? And so, that's what you get when you get that. But now this was in the 90s, the late 90s. This was before everybody had the internet, okay? The internet was just like kind of becoming. Okay, now with the advent of all these little, more variety type entertainment and stuff like that, memes, whatever you want to call them, I was like, wow, apparently I was ahead of my time, and these people were going nowhere. I mean, I don't know what they ever did with their lives, but in college, you're supposed to be building a portfolio, right, of work to exhibit what you can do so you can present that to potential employers, right? So when they say, oh, well, we have this kind of problem for you to come figure out, and you'll be like, well, I don't really need to do that. I've done case study before, and here's a write-up of everything. So if you want to see a sample of my work, you can do that, right? You know what I mean? Because nowadays, that's what a lot of these employers want to do. They want to do a free trial period without paying for it via interview. And then they'll take all your answers and they'll type them into their chat GPT large language model that they're training on site at their place, right? Am I wrong yet? Am I wrong? I used to work in IT. Okay. I know, it's so hard to figure out, isn't it? Don't make these people think you're dumb. You're not. You're not dumb. They're just boring and have no ideas. They're out of ideas. That's why they're stealing your ideas. So, Foreman, Stormin. Okay. So sometimes the storm works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't, right? Then there's Norman, right? Where it's like, I could go with this idea, maybe not this one. Let's focus on this. This seems achievable, blah, blah, blah. Right? Where you get to a norm. Okay. Me being an independent worker, I've never cared for pairing up in groups for group work. It was always like, for me, like the bane of my existence. You know what I mean? But, you know, when you are in an office environment, when you're on a sports team, right? When you're trying to coordinate with parent, you're in groups. There are just different groups that you are networked with over the course of your life. Even if you're like, I like to do everything my way or my way or the highway. Well, in order to drive on the highway, right, you're supposed to be going between this speed and this speed, not that speed. So if you get pulled over doing that speed, don't get all bent out of shape because your insurance goes up. You already know we already formed the roads. We already stormed what the requirement is, right? And then we found the norm. You know, for me, I found their norm on that one project. I just couldn't believe it. Because I was throwing out all this cool stuff and, you know, they were just not going for any of it. And I was like, wow. It was really astounding. But it also kind of shows you that, you know, your impressions of other people, you might be giving other people way too much credit. Right? Like, oh, here you thought this person was very smart, very intelligent, very whatever. And it's like, oh, you're as dry as a doorknob. And unfortunately, this does continue in life, in the groups that you work with, and sometimes the peers around you. And you might try and have a conversation, and out of their mouth comes something like, you know, like the teacher on Charlie Brown, and you're like, hmm. You know, I imagine though the teacher in Charlie Brown was actually saying something valuable. Whereas sometimes some of these things that come out of people's mouths, you're like, how is it possible you made all those noises yet you couldn't form a single word or phrase of like 2 or 3 words strung together? Right? And then you ask them what their ambition is, right? What their aspiration is, and it's like, oh, you what? You want to recite lines in front of the camera? Oh dear. You might need to learn how to read first. I'm sorry. You know, no offense to anybody learning their literacy, right? Someone in the chat is asking about if they've downloaded. You know, I personally don't use that one. That app. And that's the thing too. It's like, yeah, you order something from there, just like I was talking about the eucalyptus I got from Amazon. I was super excited about it. You know, we used to have Joanne Fabrics down the road, but they had to close all those recently. So, and I didn't really feel like going to, you know, the other place, which maybe I should have. I don't know. I don't know if all of this stuff is spray painted in China before they ship it over here. And I was just, oh my God. I mean, and then I opened up the bathroom, and the bathroom, like, I was like, this ain't right. I had to take it out. I had it all hung up and decorated and everything. I had to take it off the wall. I threw it in the garage. I'm like, this ain't smell. Like, I don't know where this eucalyptus comes from, but I don't think it's the kind that the koala bears be eating. Okay. You know, so yeah, it was kind of like one of those where you order from, you know, those apps or whatever, and you get it and you're like, oh my God. I've done that with clothes too. They say that with, you know, fast fashion. especially check the materials that you're allegedly receiving. I've received a pair of boots. They came from China, and the smell of the plastic was so bad. And again, I couldn't even bring it in the house. I just leave it in the garage. It was that noxious of an odor. It was really weird. And it's like, well, I don't want to touch these. I don't want to handle these. You know? Um, so your aspiration, even though it said like, genuine leather in the ad, it wasn't. Okay. So your aspiration, what you're doing to transform into that aspiration, who's helping you achieve those goals? Is it somebody who just wants your money from China? Is it somebody who just wants to check the box and get that B and not have any fun stuff in their presentation? Is it, you know what I mean? Or are you getting in the groove of, and so if you're not seeing it right now, like right in front of your face, like maybe you don't have like a BFF, maybe you don't have, a large family around you or something in that nature. Your ancestors and spirit guides are around you, and they are guiding you, and they are that group. Okay, where some of us are forced into group work, others of us are doing it alone, right? And then it's like, okay, well, if you had the group of your dreams around you, how would it go? Oh, Granny could always make that great apple pie, blah, blah. Well, start thinking about it. Start jotting it down. What did she used to do? How did she used to make it? Okay. Don't let the fact that Granny's not around or wherever stop you from going forward. Okay? Because likely if she was here or next to you, she'd be like, okay, we can tackle this. Let's get to it. And what you got to do, then you got to roll up your sleeves and help. Right? There's so many people in this world that are unwilling to help, unwilling to participate. Choices. Yes. So again, are you participating in choices that fulfill you, that make you grow? Someone in the chat says nobody's around them except for your angels. Yeah, your angels are always around you, right? They can help you make these choices. Okay? That angel and the devil, right? We all know one of those in our lives and one of those, right? So if you were presented with a couple of choices and, the more angelic figure in your life, what would they do? Okay? And then the devilish figure in your life, what would they do? Don't overcomplicate it. That's part of what meditation does, is it brings clarity, simplicity, conciseness, where we say no is a complete sentence. Is it not? People be like, oh, well, I'm presenting you with a choice. Well, my choice isn't to say no. There was a big campaign in the 80s, say no to drugs, Nancy Reagan. I don't know that it really worked, but the message was out there. And probably for a lot of people, it did work. And then we also had DARE, drug abuse resistance education programs for kids, right? Presenting you with a choice, right? Okay. Who'd they just catch? That guy that he's like, they said he was like as big as El Chapo, the ex-Olympian Canadian snow person, right? He got involved with some certain people and then he made some choices. I mean, they're saying that he's responsible for offing people. like these other cartel dudes. That was a series of choices. That's not just some dumb luck. Okay? That's somebody actively making decisions. I feel like a lot of people forget that, like, he's not some 18-year-old snowboarder anymore. He's a 44-year-old man. Someone says it's freezing in Chicago. The snow is delaying them a bit. Doing lots of meditation, coloring art. That has become very popular in recent years, especially the coloring books. Because not everyone knows how to draw or is super artistic, but anyone can go buy a pack of those colored pencils or crayons with the coloring books, right? And do something like that, right? Some people do tie-dye, they use dyes and inks to color, tapestries and woven fabrics and things of that nature. You might have to, again, check your fabric material, what works best. Okay. Anyway. Gratitude, yes. Being thankful and grateful for every single day, every single moment, right? Some people don't want you to be, right? They want you to be angry all the time. You have to be angry. You have to be angry at this. Why aren't you angry at that? You know what unresolved anger does to you? It causes sickness. It causes illness. I think that's already a scientifically proven fact. Okay. So if you're unable to manage the stress of life, you're going to have to get help for it. You're going to have to get help for it. There's lots of resources out there. Okay. But telling everybody else that they have to be angry is not necessarily the solution. Because some people have already gotten angry and nobody helped them. Okay. For every Dateline story you see out there, there's probably 50 to 100 other unsolved cold cases. Some people see justice in this lifetime, and others are still praying for it. Some people have had to wait generations. So being happy that you woke up today in your warm, cozy bed, right? And things like that. Okay. Or being grateful that you were able to, clock in, right? Oh, hey, my badge still works, guys. Right? That kind of shit. Because, yeah, as you make choices, other people are able to make choices too. And some of those choices may have consequences that you don't like. That doesn't mean you go back and undo all your choices. Because what if you did? Would that have actually changed anything? This is where getting out of that, I hate to say, teenage idealistic phase of life, okay? Because no, it's not perfect here on earth. There's a lot of people who've not received justice, right? Or retribution. Maybe when we all go to a better place, we'll see it somehow. But I can also tell you that, in watching enough of some of these Datelines and stuff like that too, is it justice that these people have to get locked up and go to jail and stuff? Sure. Doesn't always make people feel better, though. Doesn't take away the pain of what they did. No, it doesn't. That's why when some people say, "Oh, I'm going to get my revenge." Well, have you ever tasted revenge? Because from the looks on their faces, they thought it would feel better. And it doesn't. You know? Um, it's like when you're right about something, but you didn't want to be right about it. Right? You're like, ugh, I kind of wish I wasn't right about that. But I am. But yeah. Sometimes that's how life works. So, what are you going to do about it? Right? Show gratitude for what's going right. Continue to make good choices. Grace. Give yourself grace. We all make mistakes, 100%. Even the monks in Nepal or Tibet or wherever the hell they are, right? They make mistakes. That's why some of them are sitting there thinking about it for 20 years, not saying a word. Okay. So if you're not a chatty Cathy, right? And maybe you're just somebody who more is likes to think. Maybe you're somebody who craves introspection. Okay. Also give yourself grace during meditation, because I feel like how it gets sold to people is that, oh, well, once you do this, you're gonna find out all the answers. You might find out subsection A, part 2, volume 3 answers, but for the entire set, that might take another meditative episode. Yeah, but I got all this other stuff to do. Well, I can't meditate 24 hours a day. Probably not, unless you dedicate your life to spirituality and want to become a nun or a monk. But trust me, those folks have responsibilities too. They're cleaning the chapel every day. Okay? So just because you don't have it all figured out yet, guess what? Maybe you're not supposed to. Okay? That's why it really irritates me when people are like, oh, I'm still trying to figure you out, or I haven't figured you out. Cool. Go fuck yourself. Go figure yourself out. For one, stop trying to get in my business. Right? I'm not a big fan of the Kardashians or whatever, but like, I don't consume their content. I don't watch their stuff. You know what I mean? I've made that choice. I'm okay, and I'm okay. You know, I don't begrudge the girl for having her makeup line or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? I hear some of the clothes could be a little better. But, again, I haven't ordered any of that stuff, so I can't. I can't verify. I've just seen some videos online. But yeah, everybody makes mistakes. Think of all the people that bought stuff and it fell apart or it didn't look right. Are they all rioting outside of their house? No. But it's like, yeah, take my money, right? That's funny because I watch these Dateline episodes and people are getting off left and right for over money. Okay? So yeah, give yourself grace if the way that you participate, especially religiously speaking, is not through tithing, right? Giving of your funds, right? Especially this year and past years where, grocery budgets have gotten tight, blah, blah, everybody's getting, yeah, right? It's like, well, I've given money to the church for the last 10 years every Sunday. Maybe they can grant me some grace today. Huh? Huh? Yeah, I feel like when you come out of this transformation here, you're going to start to be feeling this bliss. Um, they say ignorance is bliss, right? But this is more like cultivated bliss. You're like, well, that's great and all, but I'm going to be over here doing this right now because it brings me happiness and bliss. And I earn the right to do it. Okay. You know, maybe for some of you that is that cooking with granny thing. This is kind of giving me a little bit of that apron vibe for some reason right here. You know, because some of you would be like, oh, I've never had a blissful moment in my life. Well, think back to your childhood. Okay. Were you ever around, a grown up that cared about you, that you felt safe around? That's what I'm talking about. Some people don't have that center. That's why their vibrations all messed up. That's why instead of listening to this one, they're listening to that one. Okay. But right? Don't let their little devilish angel distract you from the angel you already got over here, letting you know what you're supposed to already be doing. And the more you do this, other people, and then it's going to be like that. It's going to be like that thing, where it in the cartoon, then all of a sudden it's like, ah! But it's going to be in a good way. It's like you're just gathering up a pile of love and goo and blah, shooting it out into the universe. Okay? All right. I am definitely over on time today, but that's okay, right? We all love each other over here. Mostly I did have to get somebody out of the chat today because they were a little expletive with their bliss, what they find blissful. Anyway. All right. Your song for the day, Hall & Oates, Kiss on My List of the best things in life. Because your kiss is on my list. Because your kiss can't resist. Kisses on my list. All right. Go look it up. Get yourself in a good mood today. Listen to the angel. Ignore the devils. Okay? Remember to like the video, especially if you're in the chat today. Remember, you do not have to be a subscriber in order to like the video. But you can Just give it a little thumbs up. All right. And until next time, please do manifest wisely because y'all kiss.